How often do you think about the Oscars? About how many Oscar-winning films there are and how many you've seen? Yeah, there's a few famous Oscar-winning films that we've all seen. You know, The Godfather and Lord of the Rings and Titanic. I'm King of the World, all that stuff. But the Oscars have been running since 1927. There are currently over 1,000 films, feature-length films, which have won an Oscar. How many have you seen? I did the numbers for myself. It's not many, and I consider myself quite a movie buff. So here then is the premise of this podcast. Every episode, I and a rotating cast of 2 guests will randomly select one of the 1,000 films that have won an Oscar, watch it, and talk about it, with the only requirement being that one of the 3 people on each episode has to have never seen the movie before we talk about it. That will get difficult with Star Wars. Please note that our coverage of a movie does not constitute an endorsement of it. My least favorite movie of 2016, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, won an Oscar for Best Makeup, while my favorite movie of 2016, The Handmaiden, wasn't even nominated for anything. Please also note that our coverage of a movie is not a blanket endorsement of any or all of the people involved in it. A lot of terrible people have won Oscars. Kevin Spacey won an Oscar 20 years before he was outed as an abuser, and Roman Polanski won one 20 years after. But every film, good, bad, or in many cases mediocre, that has won an Oscar is an important part of film history just for being there. And they all, on some level, deserve a tiny bit of consideration, even if that consideration ends up concluding that it's garbage. And with all of that in mind, I am your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey. Merry Christmas, I guess. This is coming out on the 24th. It is not the 24th when we're recording this. Shocker. With me today is Amanda.
Hi.
And Bex.
Hello.
Who are going quipless, I suppose.
Oh, fuck, a quip.
You don't have to do quips. You don't fucking do quips. What did I just say about the format? There is no format. I'm in charge here.
I don't have a quip. This movie is clearly quipless.
And speaking of quipless, we are here today to talk about Beetlejuice, the 1988 Tim Burton film that won Best Makeup at the 61st Academy Awards. And a movie that I have not actually seen in, fuck me, I want to say like 15 years.
Is that because you're old?
Oh, damn.
1988. So just to clarify timeline, this was before basically everybody in this movie's like big break mostly, right? Like Winona Ryder did Heathers after this. Gina Davis did A League of Their Own and Thelma and Louise after this.
I really gotta emphasize for you, Bex, that while Heathers is a big movie now, like a classic now, it fucking bombed when it first came out. Huge bomb.
And she did Girl Interrupted too.
That was actually one of my notes for the movie. I was like surprised by how many like of the actors in this movie ended up going on to having like huge prosperous careers. Like there were so many big names in this movie before like any of them were really known.
And then there's musical superstar Robert Goulet who popped up, which was wild for me.
I want to say that like Michael Keaton was an established guy at this point.
This is true. That is probably true.
Yeah, but I mean when you put him up against like everybody else that was in the movie, like for the most part, like they were all unknowns or very small, like little roles here and there. I actually didn't realize it was Winona Ryder at first.
Was this the movie that made people look at Tim Burton and Michael Keaton and go, yeah, they should make a Batman movie?
It is the movie that made people say, we should let that guy make a Batman movie. Which he did.
That is a really interesting transition.
He did too.
This is the movie that established Tim Burton. And honestly, it was kind of interesting because, like, it's definitely not a perfect movie, but, like, man, do you know how long it's been since I liked a Tim Burton movie?
Oh, as someone who has never seen a good movie directed by Tim Burton, he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, so I'm not considering that. This was the first movie I've seen of his directed by him that I actually really enjoyed.
I want to say, like, a couple of his movies are up for this podcast. This is obviously Ed Wood, very famously is, I think, Sleepy Hollow.
Isn't Big Eyes?
No.
It's not?
I actually liked Sweeney Todd.
We can't get into it.
I'm sorry.
We're not going to talk about Sweeney Todd because we have a theater kid with us, and Bex will talk her off for the rest of the.
I will say though about this movie in particular.
One joke. Isn't it so fun how Anthony from that movie is now playing Vecna? I find it funny.
What the fuck is Vecna?
It's on Stranger Things.
Oh, I've not watched that.
Wait, that's him?
Yeah, that's him. He was just a baby when he played Anthony, and that movie sucks. And so does Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, I'm done.
I mean, yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory sucks. I can talk myself into liking Sweeney Todd and Big Eyes in the right moment.
I've never seen Corpse Bride, but I think that one's actually good, probably.
Neither of them are actually what I'd call good, but I can talk myself into liking them. And aside from that, it's what, like, Big Fish.
I'm more familiar with the Big Fish musical.
And he is currently making Wednesday, the Netflix show, a show that I have described to my friends on multiple occasions with the glowing review of unwatchable.
A show that I have discovered has some of the creative minds behind Smallville on it.
Unsurprising.
Wednesday is one that like I've had on my list pretty much since it came out, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on watching it yet, and I don't know why, but the vibes feel wrong, and I can't explain it.
I don't. The best way I can describe Wednesday is that there's a quality level that I ascribe mostly to a certain variety of like YA kid shows. Supergirl is the most famous one I ascribe to this. Is never actually good, but occasionally almost great.
Interesting dichotomy.
Skins is like that. Oh, okay, rephrase. Skins is really, really great for a single scene, and then you watch 6 more seasons waiting for it to ever be half that good again, and it never is.
Is it the scene when Nicholas Hoult gets hit by a bus?
And then they all sing Wild World, yeah. Genuinely the best scene of all of television. I will not explain. I'm David Lynching this one.
If I may, did Wednesday lead to Beetlejuice, or did Beetlejuice lead to Wednesday?
Wednesday led to Beetlejuice. Wednesday's been in production since 2021. It's fascinating to me that they have to wait so long between seasons. I don't know what's taking them so long.
Jenna Ortega's busy.
Their scripts, I imagine, are banged out in about 45 minutes per episode.
It just sucks because I grew up watching old Addams Family episodes on TV Land, and they have the dynamic of the family all wrong. They are a loving family. That is the joke of the Addams Family. And you would think Tim Burton would understand that, considering the familial relationships we see growing in this movie.
So, like, I was chatting with my work wife this afternoon about Beetlejuice. And, you know, this is the movie that establishes Tim Burton. You know, he had Pee-wee's Big Day before this, but that's like... I mean, there's something there, but we're not talking about that. And this is the movie that, like, this movie and Batman and Ed Wood make Tim Burton a household name. Like, there aren't too many directors who you can expect the average film goer, not fucking freaks like me, but the average film goer to know the name of. And Tim Burton's on that list. It's like him and maybe Chris Nolan these days, and Michael Bay, but like derogatively. Where was I going with that? Oh, and so, like, you can see I'm going to make a comparison that I imagine is going to get a lot of people extremely angry with me. So I'm very glad no one listens to this podcast. But, like, you can see the shift in the gothic aesthetic shifting from, like, actual outsiders. The way I phrased it to my work wife is shifting from like Sushi and the Banshees and Bauhaus to Panic at the Disco is the other end of that spectrum.
Woof. And you think Beetlejuice is Panic at the Disco?
I don't think Tim Burton was ever actually very goth. I think that the aesthetic shift happened because he became the defining artistic name behind what people thought of when they thought of goth was Tim Burton movies.
I would argue from what I've seen, and I haven't seen some of the big. I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands. I haven't seen all of the Batman movies. I don't want to talk about it. I know based on my brand, that doesn't make any sense. But he always struck me more as dark fantasy. I also didn't really. Okay. My entryway into Beetlejuice was a brief fascination with the cartoon when it came on at like 2 a.m. at night on like Adult Swim or whatever, or wherever I could find on YouTube, in which Beetlejuice and Lydia are just total besties.
Which is extremely weird in context with the movie.
I realize that now because it kind of carried over. My big exposure to Beetlejuice was the 2018 musical, in which there are some pretty significant plot differences and character motivations throughout. Ultimately, well, they toned down the whole. They make very clear the marriage is a green card thing, and they have a whole song about how like we can't believe some people think this is actually okay. Whatever. There's that. There's also the turning Juno into Beetlejuice's abusive alcoholic mother. There's all the musical went through a lot of rewrites, and it sounds like the movie did too.
I mean, it's interesting because like he's the title character, albeit spelled incorrectly in the name of the movie. In the name,
Yeah, spelled incorrectly in every media.
yes, correct. But he is not in the movie super much.
Well, they fixed that for the musical, don't you worry. That's cynical. But certainly looking at the musical, you would have never really believed that Barbara and
Adam,
Adam,
played by Alec.
Barbara and unnecessarily hot Alec Baldwin. I have to speak my truth. He looks kind of like a lesbian I'd love. It's true. It's true. I don't like him, but I say what I saw. You would never guess the kind of more secondary character. They take a back seat as soon as Lydia gets introduced into the picture. And Beetlejuice is much more of a protagonist, narrator kind of person. I do think the musical is worth checking out. It has some pacing issues. Too much happening in Act 1, not enough happening in Act 2.
So it's a musical?
Pretty much, yeah.
Shush. When I went to see it, the bartender accidentally gave me and my friend way too much vodka, so we got smashed during Act 2, and the pacing felt fine to me.
My point was that like you sit down and watch it, and Beetlejuice is only in like 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
He just makes a fairly major impression because I have in my notes Michael Keaton walks on screen at an 11 and never brings it down a notch.
Yeah. He is one of the best.
I definitely put that in my notes where I said Michael Keaton plays unhinged so well. Because I'm used to seeing him in like his serious, like action-y type movies. So seeing him in this type of character was so like interesting for me. And I think that was probably the only thing I liked about this movie.
Oh
yeah. I hated it. I hated the movie.
Aw.
Interesting.
I've never seen Beetlejuice. The only thing I really knew was from like I have this like memory of like a Halloween party when I was a kid, and one of my friend's dads dressed as Beetlejuice, and I was like, what the hell is this guy wearing? And my dad was like, oh, that's Beetlejuice. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And that's pretty much like my only contact with Beetlejuice as a franchise, as a whatever you want to call it. Like I've never engaged with any of it. So I came into it like completely fresh with zero expectations. And like the more I watched it, I was like, I felt like I had no idea what was going on the entire time.
Really?
Including at the end where I was like, everything's more or less been explained, but I'm still like confused.
Huh.
Yeah.
I do like on that note, I do have also in my notes that it's extremely funny that the entire third act, which is, let's be real, just kind of an excuse to do a series of VFX showcases.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which some of the VFX slay. The green screen? Woof. Woof, mama.
Yeah, the green screen looks pretty rough. I mean,
Yeah.
So Beetlejuice is never going to win Best Visual Effects this year, or really any technical other than makeup, because this year Best visual effects went to a little film called Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You ever heard of this one?
Oh, I've never seen it.
Really? I mentioned this when it came up in the last episode, which was a movie that won Best Visual Effects. But like the fun of Roger Rabbit overall is every single scene you're just sitting there going, "How the fuck did they do that?"
Yeah. I have seen the one shoe getting dissolved by the acid. Don't know why that's really the only thing I've seen, but
Bex, your film education fascinates me.
I know. So wait, so what was the makeup exactly? Was when they were so spoiler alert, they shrivel into dust at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, in act 3 of the movie they get better. Was that the makeup?
That would be part of it. The Beetlejuice in general.
Oh, Beetlejuice. I mean, I guess I thought Michael Keaton just looked like that, but okay.
Well, like when that like face melting,
I'm sorry, Batman. I'm sorry.
like that face melting scene or whatever happened, like I have a literal note in my thing and I said, "What the fuck is this makeup?" Oof. I didn't look up what they won awards for. And then I did after, and I was like, because after I was like, how did this win awards? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, makeup.
It was 1988.
That's so rough. But then I looked what they were up against and I was like, okay, so maybe the standards for awards was just significantly lower back then.
I thought that the things they did with the faces were great. I feel like there was some puppetry going on there. The
Mm-hmm.
puppetry in this.
I went through a phase where I hyperfixated heavy on like special effects makeup. So I watched a lot of videos on like how to do it properly, etc., like all that stuff. And when I saw that face melting scene, like you can see the part where like the prosthetic is on their face and where it doesn't connect with their eyes. And that bothered me so much because that's such an easy fix.
It was the 80s.
Yes, but if you're judging it on makeup because that's the award that it won, like I'm looking at it and I'm like,
What was it up against? Ellie, what was it up against?
it was up against fucking sorry, Coming to America or whatever that movie is called.
Mm-hmm. And Scrooged.
Yeah. So I was like,
The fact that that was the same year as Coming to the America is insane.
yeah. So when I saw the other things in the category, I was like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, like, that's when I thought the standards were a little lower in the 80s than they are like now.
Well, okay, so the movie starts, and this is the most insane looking house ever known to man. It is the most Connecticut house I've ever seen. As soon as I heard this movie was set in Connecticut, I was like, that makes sense to me. I grew up in Connecticut, and that is a house I would see. But what kind of a who? What was? I guess it was the 80s, so maybe their salary was different. But how the hell did that couple afford that?
Well, you see, the writers very cleverly realized they don't need to explain any of that because they die 5 minutes in.
This is true. Now, I thought the way they died was also interesting. It really fucked up that they blame it all on the dog. So they swerve to avoid hitting a dog, and then the dog is the only thing keeping their car like balanced, and then the dog runs off of the plank and they die. And I was like, wow, that's really dark. It's really fucked up to blame this dog, and it really puts a dark tone on the whole movie. Now, in the musical, they die because they fall through their floor and crash a couple stories because the house is so big and they die. It's also something I think they touch on it kind of better in the movie, the parental bond between Adam and Barbara and Lydia, especially because in the musical they're introduced as both being like worried and not ready for kids and keep putting it off.
Really?
Yeah, there a lot. Some of that is cut, but there is a beautiful cut song about the children they never had.
I was kind of under the impression that they were implying that Barbara couldn't have kids.
Yeah, that's I hear that too. But they were like, they also had the thing, we can try again, and they start getting it in the car.
They are disgustingly in love in that opening scene. It's
They are so, oh my God. When they keep pulling each other down to kiss, I was like, oh,
my primary
God, I wish that were me, Gina Davis.
my primary reference point for Alec Baldwin in media is probably going to remain for the rest of his life 30 Rock.
Mm. Interesting.
So just imagining like this is what would happen if 30 Rock if Jack Donaghy ever unwound for 5 seconds is very funny to me.
Hmm.
What I was going to say about the makeup specifically is that like 88 is an extremely sort of weird in betweeny space in terms of like special effects. You know, where computer generated graphics are like coming, everyone can see it. The best animated short this year was actually a little movie called Tin Toy by a up and coming new CGI animated studio called Pixar.
Wow! You don't say.
Don't say. You know, we were still what, like 3 years out from Terminator 2, 5 years out from Jurassic Park. This was at a moment where a lot of stuff was kind of at a weird spot where they were still doing practical for a lot of stuff, but also trying to include CGI when they could.
Which leads to my question about the worm.
The worm is clearly a puppet.
It's beautiful.
It is a very nice looking effect.
She's gorgeous.
It's one of those effects that I like. I use the Thing as my major example of this kind of effect where you don't have to look real to look good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't ever you know, if you sat down and watched The Thing with all the lights on and pausing every few seconds during all the effect scenes, none of them really look real. They all look like what they are, complicated claymation and puppetry. But they fucking look good. They look effective. They freak the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
See where that dog melts? Man.
There were some gorgeous bits of physical effects in this movie.
Yeah, but you are both right. The greens I do have in my notes the green screen on Saturn is it's real rough.
Oh, I feel like I could see Alec blending into the frame. You know what it was giving? It was giving, and I say this with all the love in my heart to all of my friends. It was giving early 2010s internet reviewer.
Oh, that's so mean, Bex.
Green screen level. I say with love. It's just that it was the capabilities that they had, and you would think a major studio would have more capabilities, but I guess they didn't.
I mean, yeah, I guess Beetlejuice was kind of a reasonably major movie. It was a $15 million budget in '88. Like that's not nothing.
And I mean, it had some star power in it in bit roles, but Robert Goulet, baby.
I'm trying to think of a comparative. Man, the fucking 61st Academy Awards, y'all. We really just gave so much shit to Rain Man, huh?
Can we talk about the Catherine O'Hara of it all? The queen, the goddess, the everything?
You okay with talking about that, Amanda?
When I saw her, I was so shocked because I'm so used to seeing her in Schitt's Creek. Like, I'm obsessed with that show. And I saw her and I was like, first of all, I don't know why I was shocked that she has done other things because, like, it's Catherine O'Hara, but, like, in my mind, like, she's the mom in Schitt's Creek and that's it, you know? Like,
She has had the most acclaimed comedy
I
career.
know, but it's like she's one of those people that, like, you know, when you see them like in a role that you really like and it's something that you watch often, so like you mentally associate them with that character so you can't see them in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt watching this because I was so like thrown off the whole time. I was like, what is she doing here? I don't know why.
But did you like her in it?
I love her as an actress, so like
I do want to also note, since we're talking about '88 as like an in-betweeny space, it was one of those. This movie has a one of those things that I love to see happen in the lower awards, like the technicals, where it won an Oscar for a technical award, while one of its actors won an acting award for something completely different the same year. Gina Davis won an Oscar this year for The Accidental Tourist.
Did she? Was this when she won her Oscar?
It was, yes.
Does she have more than one? Gina Davis?
No.
She should. A Leave Their Own made me gay.
It made everyone gay. Come on.
Her arms in that movie are the reason I am a lesbian today.
Have you watched the TV show yet?
No, because I knew it would get canceled and I didn't want to get attached.
You're smarter than me.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame because, you know, Gina Davis was and continues to be, as best I can tell, an extremely good actress, but she kind of like she kind of had two pretty big bombs back to back in the mid 90s, and it kind of like her career never really recovered.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was in the Stuart Little franchise,
Okay.
and she did Grey's Anatomy for a while.
Well, speaking of Grey's Anatomy,
Oh,
when I saw Barbara, I was like, I know this actress. Where do I know this actress from? And then I looked her up, and she plays Dr. Herman on Grey's Anatomy. And
this is true.
I was like so excited because I've never seen her in anything else.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm looking at her Wikipedia. What do you mean she was in Joey Kravitz's Blink twice? What?
She was in Zoe Kravitz's Blink twice. I don't know what to add to that. She was also in She-Ra.
Me neither.
Okay, well, that's a sleigh.
I'm just saying, like,
That's an unambiguous sleigh to be in She-Ra.
the Long Kiss Goodnight did not do super well, but perhaps more importantly, I think Cutthroat Island is still like budget to box office one of the biggest bombs in history.
Yeah. God, I just realized this is Catherine O'Hara. Wait, does that mean you didn't know that Catherine O'Hara was the mom in Home Alone?
That I did, but like Home Alone's not really
Her movie.
a Christmas movie that I like enjoy all that much.
Amanda, I love you.
Y'all know Catherine O'Hara was in Over the Hedge, a movie that haunted me as a child?
I remember really enjoying that, but I could not tell you a single thing that happens in it.
No, I really enjoyed it too, because my favorite singer, Avril Lavigne, was in it.
She was? Wait, yes! Yes.
All right, I'm walking into Long Island Sound. Have a good time.
Avril Lavigne played William Shatner's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember that movie at all.
I was just
Yeah.
double checking that Home Alone isn't eligible. No, it is not eligible.
I was just hoping Over the Hedge was, and it's not, and I'm devastated.
Absolutely not. So now I can just briefly go. I fucking hate Home Alone. Can't stand that movie. Don't ask me to quantify that particularly strongly. I just find it so irritating. I don't even know why.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes, Ellie.
And yet I never am.
But like the thing with Home Alone is, especially like when you look at all of the movies, is that they're so repetitive. Like it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Well, I've only seen the first one, so.
I also have a really hard time believing that they would just forget one of their children.
I don't.
No.
I've had families forget children,
I used to be a camp counselor, and like
and sometimes the kids will run away. And
field trips, and this I would like quantify it as like a field trip. Like you're constantly counting heads. You're always making sure that all of your kids are there. So I cannot imagine that if it was your child, you're not like instinctively like checking that shit, you know?
I thought it was very plausible.
I mean, like, I think it's I think it is no more or less plausible than most movie premises, such as, for example, you die and get trapped in undead bureaucracy while a bunch of yuppies come and take over your house. Bam, we're back on topic.
That was so. We have to talk about the scene where Delia almost dies because for some reason the movers and builders have decided it's their job to destroy this couple whose house they are helping to fix.
They're yuppies. They're not people.
But that was crazy. Like, they pinned her to the wall with her own sculpture. This woman could have died. They could have killed Catherine O'Hara. That's also another thing. So in the musical, Catherine O'Hara Catherine O'Hara's character is desperately, sincerely wants to try and make a connection with Lydia, who is still deeply mourning the loss of her mother, and goes as far as to the whole thing with the ghost and Beetlejuice gives her the idea to go into the Neverworld to find her. I was very shocked when I realized the dead mom didn't play basically any of a role in the movie.
That's sort of what I was kind of roundabout driving at when I said that, like, this movie has a kind of goth aesthetic, especially with Lydia, but it's only an aesthetic. She doesn't actually seem like one of the major flaws in the movie is at the end she's like threatening to kill herself. I'm like, well, that fucking came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You seem fine 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, that is, I will say, very much to the musical's credit, she is given a lot more of an emotional through line, and honestly a lot more character development, and character in general than Lydia has in the movie. I feel like a lot of Lydia's character actually doesn't really I mean, the movie's mostly about Adam and Barbara. So it was so interesting that a lot of her character comes from the animated series. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also, if you've never seen the Beetlejuice animated series, it's insane. I highly recommend checking it out once in your life.
This was also the glory years of like movies that absolutely should not be getting an animated series getting an animated series. Everyone give it up for notable kids movie RoboCop
Yes.
getting a fucking animated series.
I was gonna say, because this movie doesn't feel like a kid's movie. Because like I'm trying to put myself like in the lens of like an 8-year-old, for example. Like that scene where she pulls off her face in the closet.
Delicious.
Like a kid
Gorgeous.
would not sleep for like months after seeing that. So why did they look at this movie and they go, you know what would be really great? A kids show. Like
You know what got me? Because I'd never seen the end of the table dance before. When the hands came out, the shrimp hands, and slammed everyone's faces into the table. I was like, we got shrimp hands?
They do have shrimp hands.
They have shrimp hands.
It's you're right that it's not really a kids movie. There's a Beetlejuice is pretty openly kind of a horny sex pest the entire movie.
Honestly, still a bit of a sex pest in the musical. One of my notes was when he kisses Barbara, I made a note that in the musical, he kisses both Adam and Barbara against their will. Equal opportunity assault.
And it, obviously it's not quite on the same level as RoboCop, a movie which opens with a fucking executive getting his chest blown open by a machine gun and does not let up. But like, yeah, it's not exactly. It's a movie that doesn't seem like it should be very intended for kids, but I can sort of like, in much like Ghostbusters, which is also a movie that is not really for kids.
That movie's disgusting for children. It's why did my parents let me see that? That there's like a full-on rape scene in Ghostbusters.
two things. First, when you said Ghostbusters, I really thought you meant Goosebumps, and I was like, yeah, that shouldn't be for children either.
No,
So- and
children deserve to be afraid.
okay, those books traumatized me as a child,
Mood.
and I would keep reading them, but I was terrified. Like, not for children.
Children need to feel an amount of healthy fear to feel safe and like learn things.
No, I think there's other ways to learn. Because I did not sleep for weeks.
I just nearly brought up a movie that I was gonna say is a good example of that.
But I was gonna say about Beetlejuice, the only thing that I would see like appealing to like a younger audience is like Beetlejuice is like manic, sort of like prankster type energy. Like if you tone down a little bit the darker stuff, like I could see that working for kids.
Mm-hmm.
But like for the most part, I just feel like they could have really done other things other than this. Like this is not something you want your kids watching.
I think that's why. And Beetlejuice right now is playing on Broadway for the third time, which is hilarious. Now, this is a tour contract that is not being paid at the full wages they deserve because there's some shady business deals going on. But the fact that it has been resurrected from the dead multiple times and is a beloved musical by like teens and other people that aren't teens everywhere is because they did tone down a lot. I didn't realize how disgustingly pervy the original Beetlejuice is. This is a there's a ghost strip club as a plot point.
There is. But my point is like Ghostbusters and RoboCop are kind of in the same simpatico level where if you're a kid and you see this movie when you shouldn't, like say up late on TV, or like your parents take you to it because it's not like R-rated. Oh, RoboCop is extremely R-rated. You as a kid can ignore the stuff that's too adult. You see a couple of like kind of gnarly special effects. It's like you probably like the sandworm or like the scene where Beetlejuice like throws the zipper onto
onto Gina Davis's mouth. That stuff kind of amuses you.
That was fun. And then she unzips her mouth. Comedy.
It's honestly a lot like RoboCop if you ignore the actual extremely dark satirical movie RoboCop is. You can sand it down to, well, he's a robot and he's a cop, to make it fit into a kids show mold. The TV show didn't start until 3 years after the movie came out. So I assume it had just much like future Winona Ryder project that also got a musical adaptation, Heathers. It had actually just kind of become like a VHS store staple that kids were into for whatever reason. Beetlejuice does have kind of prankster energy if you're too young to understand that he's kind of like a sex pest.
The thing about Heather's musical, it's also very good, but it is the themes of the Heathers musical and the Heathers movie are different. And the themes of the Beetlejuice movie and the Beetlejuice musical are a bit closer than that. There's more of an emphasis. You could see some of this come through. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel like the movie was a bit too short. I feel like it could have used maybe 5 more minutes to flesh out a relationship between the Maitlands and Lydia at least a bit. But in the musical, there really is that bonding moment, and there really is that sense that at the end, oh, all 5 of them are a family now. And Beetlejuice gets eaten by a sandworm.
So. Beetlejuice does get eaten by a sandworm. I think that the point I was trying to make earlier, and I kind of got distracted because they put ADHD where my brain should be. Is you hear that this movie had a $15 million budget and oh, that's quite a lot. For the amount of special effects they have in this film in 1988, not really. For comparison, Best Picture winner Rain Man, certainly not one of the worst Best Picture winners of all time. It is. It had a budget of $25 million, and that's just 2 guys hanging around going to different places, So honestly, it occasionally feels like they kind of trimmed a lot of the fat off the movie because they were running out of money, and this was Tim Burton's big break, and he just wanted to get it out there.
Get it out there so he could do Scissorhands or whatever. I haven't seen Scissorhands.
The ending definitely felt kind of rushed because it felt like there wasn't much going on for the entire first half of the movie, and then the second half it's content overload with very little connection between each thing, and it made it really hard to kind of sit with it and enjoy it. But I can also see how it became a cult classic where people were really into it, because I think we've mentioned Heathers a lot, but like Heathers, it's you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between. Other kind of bad but good movies like Mean Girls.
Whoa!
I love Mean Girls, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely one of those movies.
Now, I hate Mean Girls, but that's because I'm not a fan of Tina Fey's nothing against, well, actually, some things against the woman. She keeps writing really racist stuff, but nothing against her style of comedy. I just can't stand it.
But when you consider movies that are cult classics where when you talk about it, you always get both extremes. It's never somebody that's going to be yeah, it's fine. It's always they're diehard for it or they're dead against it. And I can see how Beetlejuice became one of those.
Do you think that's to its benefit?
I mean, I don't know. But Beetlejuice, like Mean Girls, ended up with a second / spin-off movie as well as a musical.
I watched a clip for some reason of the end of the second movie, Beetlejuice today, and that was fucked up.
I haven't watched it.
And the CGI wasn't that much better.
Yeah. I considered watching it for this just to kind of get some sort of comparison between the original versus the readaptation, but I couldn't do it. After I watched it first, I was oh, I'm really not into this. I can't sit through Beetlejuice, because I heard bad things about it to begin with.
Right. Yeah, I still haven't seen Beetlejuice. As indicated, the last Tim Burton film that I don't have to talk myself into liking was from 2003, which
Big Fish?
Yeah, that's 22 years ago, besties.
So the thing about the Big Fish musical is
Stop it.
I'm not doing it.
We are not. We. There are too many musicals involved in this movie. In this episode, we are moratorium on musicals.
I do have one last thing to say about the parallels between the Beetlejuice musical and the
Yeah.
Beetlejuice
Let
movie.
me finish what I was gonna say before I lose my train of thought. I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the sort of central issue that Tim Burton wound up kind of hitting, which you can see already in this first movie, is that his aesthetic, his like aesthetic both as an artist and the aesthetic of his movies, is always trying to frame himself as like a friend. The outsider is, he thinks he's kind of like a John Waters figure. He makes his movie about outsiders and weirdos.
Yeah.
And if you look at the conflict between the two families, is that, and you could probably read a gentrification metaphor into it if you're pretentious. So obviously I did that. You then have to step outside of it for a second and go like, your outsider in this movie is just a different variety of upper middle class white cishet people.
Mm.
And that is the problem he eventually landed on, because there's only so long you can maintain an outsider aesthetic without ever actually having any outsider variety. I made the joke about Panic at the Disco earlier, and that's a fine band. I don't like it, but it's fine. But like the effect of Tim Burton on the goth scene was to slowly sort of water down the actual outsiderness of it. It became Hot Topic.
Yeah. Honestly, watching this made me appreciate the musical a lot more. It's generally a lot deeper and does fix a lot of the problems that you're coming up with in making that both Barbara and Adam and Charles and Delia are all on the same level of insane.
I mean, they adjust to what is honestly, hypothetically, kind of an insane living situation at the end. But they also, like, that's kind of what goes back to what Amanda was saying. There's no, they meet each other in at the end of the third act after Beetlejuice gets eaten by the worm, and then there is an undeterminate time skip where they are all living together happily.
And Winona Ryder can fly.
There's a lot more interaction in the. Obviously, I think what. And it goes back to what I said. What really helped the difference in between the Beetlejuice movie and the Beetlejuice musical is length. Pacing issues aside, are able to develop the characters a lot more. Would I have put the act break somewhere different? Absolutely. I would have put it a bit. I would have put it after Deo, but I guess they had to introduce Beetlejuice in Act One. Whatever. The point is, sometimes, though I love a tight 90, length is better when it comes to telling stories if you need that time to do it. Is my takeaway from this very, very silly story about horny ghosts and some amazing. God, when Alec Baldwin turned into turning into Pyramid Head killed me.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know it was Alec Baldwin for the first like half of the movie.
Because he's
Same
hot,
for Winona
right?
Ryder.
It's because he's hot, right? He's hot and he's skinny.
I think modern day Alec Baldwin is a very handsome man, but I have a thing for older men, so like maybe that's a me thing.
Well, modern day Alec Baldwin is a quasi murderer, maybe ish. Alleged.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was him. Sorry, I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Also,
like that just
to be
like
fair, my main interaction with Alec Baldwin is as Hot Santa in Rise of the Guardians.
Whenever I see Alec Baldwin in anything now, the first thing that hits my brain, no matter the context, is that bit where he's in 30 Rock, where he's standing with his back to the hallway and Liz walks by and he goes, "You've been avoiding me, Lemon." She goes, "How'd you know it was me?" "To be honest, the first 3 people I did that to were not you."
I should also be well, actually, if we're gonna be honest, everyone in this movie except for the convicted child molester is hot as fuck, and except for Winona Ryder, because I think she was an actual child at the time, and Michael Keaton because he looked nasty.
He did look nasty.
I also didn't recognize Winona Ryder until the end.
Okay, so I guess I'm just saying that Barbara, Adam, and Delia were hot, and Robert Goulet.
Wait, which one's the... right, Jeffrey Jones is in this fucking movie. Man, we just can't go...
Yeah.
I was simply... Winona Ryder was born in 71, so she would have been...
17?
17 when this movie came out.
Oh my god, I did mental math. Who's impressed?
The fact that they de-goth her at the end is also disgusting, and I think that leads into your point, Ellie.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same issue I take with the Breakfast Club. Honestly, it's the same. You know, you can see it already in this movie having happened to something else. Deo, as a traditional Jamaican folk song that was like a working song, and now it's just pop music for white people. You know, Buster Poindexter got here, and we've drained all of the original culture out of this, and now it's just a song. And it's a good song. I like that scene. It's a funny fucking scene. If only because I kind of vibe how it just starts out of nowhere and then just does not stop.
Can I tell you my arguably funny, I don't think it works, but I do like it, way they integrated Jump Into Line into being the finale song?
Mm-hmm.
They stick a reprise in the middle of the song of the climactic 11 o'clock number. And it's good. But it's like you're listening to Jump Into Line by Harry Belafonte, and all of a sudden Sophia and Caruso is doing the dang thing, and you're like, oh right, I guess we have to wrap it up in the middle of this fan service. We have to wrap up the emotional core.
I guess we can all take comfort in the understanding that even the musical couldn't quite figure out how to fucking end this thing.
This is true, honestly. But no, I think my other fun thing about the musical, now they changed it after it was too they changed it for the second run on Broadway because it ended up being too taxing. Delia and Miss Argentina are a double cast role.
Okay.
Which is also really interesting because Delia's kind of sort of suffering in like a joking way, but she is suffering from some depression in the music. The musical has so much. There are also so many good cut songs.
I mean, you know, you can argue that there are a handful. Both Amanda and I could probably talk about another recent adaptation.
I literally am trying so hard not to mention Wicked, and here you are mentioning it.
Foundational part of my psyche.
We don't have to talk about Wicked. I will never shut up.
Because if we're talking about like movies taking more time to flesh things out,
exactly,
and then, you know, certain things getting that time and then kind of sitting with it and being like, I feel like maybe perhaps that could have been done better. That's what I think of, because I'm a huge fan of the musical, and I'm also a huge fan of the movie.
But you can also use it as an example of yet another musical with a kind of weak second half.
Yep.
That's the reason it didn't win the Tony, Ellie. That is the whole reason. These are not new problems. These are 20-year-old problems. That's why Avenue Q run. It was the better structured show. We've been over this since the 2000s.
The only good thing about the second half is 2 songs. And one of them happens right at the very end.
Which songs?
For good, obviously, and no good deed.
Yep, Amanda's right.
What about As Long As You're Mine? What about Thank Goodness? Maybe the most pivotal song for Glinda.
No, For Good is the most pivotal song for Glinda.
Yeah.
But what about There Are Bridges You Cross You Didn't Know You Crossed Until You Crossed? A line that should not work, and yet for some reason does.
The central problem... Okay, you made me get into it. The central problem with Wicked
God!
is that the first half of Wicked is basically 100% about Elphaba's relationship with Glinda, and then the second half, oh no, we've decided this other dude is now the most important part of the musical to Elphaba. Oh wait, it's time for the emotional climax? No, it's Glinda again. No, make up your fucking mind.
And this is why I say, if anyone needed an extra song in the second movie, it wasn't Glinda. I'm fine with No Place Like Home, but it wasn't Glinda. Fiyero needed a song. Jonathan Bailey does the best with what he could, but at its I'm almost done. At its fundamental core, we don't get enough of the motivations for Fiyero, and Jonathan Bailey could have sung his ass off of a ballad, and I'm done.
The only reason I agree with you there is because I would have liked to watch Jonathan Bailey a little bit more. Because he's so good looking.
And the only reason I disagree with you is because if we are going to list the most foundational fictional ships in Ellie's brain, Gelfie is number 2.
Obviously, Delphi is amazing, but we have to see his thought process change because we get a hint of it at the whatever.
I was gonna say, like, Delphi. The only. Wait, Ellie, you've seen part two, right?
I have, yes. It's got the same issue that the book has in that Fiero is kind of a flat character who doesn't do anything. The book solves it by letting him get fucking beaten to death at the 2/3 mark.
He's just a little himbo. We like him.
Is he not? Is he not the scarecrow?
No, he is not the Scarecrow in the book.
What?
Elphaba thinks he might be for like 5 minutes, but then at that point she's kind of lost her fucking mind. The musical also omits the part where like he knocked her up and she gave birth while in a grief coma.
What the? Okay.
Okay, we all know that the sun is the most important part of the Wicked book.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the Wicked books. They kind of suck. Moving on.
Yeah, I was like, let's not even let's pretend those don't exist for a second.
Speaking of books, the handbook for the recently deceased seems very confusing, and honestly, I don't know why they wouldn't lay things out more clearly in the book.
Speaking of books, it's impressive how much of the story revolves around the handbook for the recently deceased. Bam, we're back on topic.
I just said that.
I'm the host. I have to bring us back on topic.
I'm not gonna lie, when Winona Ryder's character is like telling them that there's ghosts in the attic and they're all like, oh yeah, let's all go up there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what do you mean you're gonna go to where the ghosts are? Like, you don't know if they're friendly ghosts. Like, what are we doing? I was so frustrated by that because I was like, this is like classic. Like, I know it's a horror movie trope where like, you know, the white people do the stupid white people thing, but like, I'm so frustrated by it every time I see it. And I was so frustrated in that moment.
Is this a horror movie?
No, but I would kind of like categorize it like adjacent.
I guess.
Because it's like kind of scary. And probably if it was made in 2025, it would be a lot scarier because the effects would probably be a lot more realistic. So it would be kind of like jump scary kind of. So it would sort of fall in that category.
I think that's what they tried to do with the sequel. I don't know if they succeeded.
Honestly feels kind of like I don't know how to put this without sounding mean. I'll just be mean. It kind of feels like a little bit overlong episode of Tales from the Crypt.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay.
That.
I have been power word aged.
I feel like I saw that when I was really young because it sounds familiar and I can see the DVD cover in my head.
It was an HBO horror anthology show. It was kind of, I say it's a horror show. It's more of a dark comedy.
Mm.
It started literally the year after this movie, so I'm like, I'm not drawing a no comparison here. I was going to make a point. You can actually honestly see something almost kind of cogent about something. Like, this is not a movie with a very strong theme. It just kind of putters around until it's hit 90-minute mark. But, like, the closest it...
That's how I felt about this one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it is.
Okay.
The Tales from the Crypt movies are... Their tone is like, imagine if the Twilight Zone was, like, 50% more jokey. And that's Tales of the Crypt. And also they had a weird undead puppet thing acting as like the Elvira, I guess would be the best. Do kids get the Elvira reference anymore?
I get it, but I think we're close in age, so.
We are close in age. I hope so, given what I say to you.
Okay.
Mwah. Love you, Amanda.
Me too.
I was born 4 days ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Bex was born 4 days ago. This is almost certainly child exploitation. Anyway.
I am small.
You are, true. That's why you play halflings in D&D. Not that I know anything about that.
No, you say that. I'm playing like a 3'0" ASMR monk right now.
Oh, Bex.
No. I will always be small. I am under 5'2" in real life. I must stand for all my shorties out there.
There is almost something a little bit cogent about 80s culture in the fact that all of these yuppies have discovered irrefutable evidence that the afterlife exists, the ghosts exist, that they are haunted, and their first thought is, we're gonna monetize it, baby. And, like, that's almost kind of something. But, the movie doesn't really follow up on it. It just kind of goes. Same thing with, honestly, the, like, whole bureaucracy of death thing. Like, that's not a new idea. That's, like, literally older than the English language. But, like, there's something kind of there. But it just, like, again, it doesn't really add up to much of anything.
When I was watching it, I had the thought that it kind of reads like they kind of just started making the movie without really thinking of like the ending. Like instead of like actually like fully fleshing it out and like thinking like, okay, beginning, middle, end, they kind of just started going at it. And then they kind of realized, oh, we kind of need to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they threw in act 2 or 3, whatever you want to call it. But it just, like that's why I feel like the pacing is off, because it doesn't seem like they really fully thought it out before putting it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
From my skimming of the Wikipedia page, they went through a lot of rewrites.
And if this is what they ended up with, oof.
I mean, neither of the credited screenwriters are exactly what I would call titans in their field. Michael McDowell, aside from this, his most famous movie is probably something called The Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know what that is.
I will not be taking slander of Nightmare Before Christmas, if that's where you're going with that.
Nightmare Before Christmas is everything. Danny Elfman cooked so hard.
He also wrote the novelization of the film Clue. Fascinating.
Did he have multiple endings?
Yes.
I've never seen the movie version of Clue.
Clue as in like the board game?
Yeah, it was they did a Tim Curry adaptation. And I guess there were probably other people in it too, like the flame. My face
I guess
lady.
there were probably other people in it.
I don't care about people other than Tim Curry. What do you want from me? I only care about Tim Curry in my life. I have a book about Rocky Horror literally 2 feet from me on my desk.
Love that for you. In case you're wondering if my comparison from Tales of the Crypt was in any way, without substance, one of his other screenwriting credits is an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, was that a direct lead-in for you?
No, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't look at his Wikipedia page.
What about the other guy?
Uncredited on Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Top Gun, the original or the new one?
The original, he died in 1990, but wrote the 89 Batman with someone else, a comics writer, it looks like.
Wait, who?
Sam Hamm.
Slay.
Okay, wait, if we're going to talk about older movies that are like bad but good, Rocky Horror is one that does it well. I feel like this one didn't do it well.
We can't get into this.
But you mentioned Rocky Horror, and like that's kind of like where my mind went.
I did, and I have great fondness for it. But we simply cannot get into Rocky Horror at this moment in time. It will take me another 3 hours.
We've been recording for an hour already. This is one of those things that I get to do every so often. As a trans woman, my opinions on Rocky Horror are complicated.
Well, I haven't seen it since I was in high school, but I went to one of those like live shows or whatever with a friend.
Yeah.
Where they like do the showing and then you have to like yell stuff.
Yeah, I know the type.
Yeah.
I am also trans and I have interesting opinions on it as well. But we don't have time to unpack all of that.
So we're just going to move on. We're just moving on.
So we're going to move on.
We're moving past Rocky Horror.
Wouldn't Tim Curry be a good Beetlejuice?
No. Different vibe.
Your obsession with Tim Curry is fascinating.
I like him! He played Sexy Poison in Fern Gully.
Fun sentence there.
Right? That was him? I don't think I've seen Fern Gully. I've only seen old internet reviews of Fern Gully.
I'm sorry. We're just going to pause there for a second. You are using this as a site of your obsession with Tim Curry without having seen it.
I've listened to his songs.
Go see it. I guarantee you it's on HBO Max or something.
I'm busy. I'm watching Smallville.
Don't!
What's wrong with Smallville?
I don't know. I just had to go with that.
I was like, do you have beef with Smallville?
Nothing major. I never watched Smallville.
Was one Kansas's town commitment to gaslighting a billionaire into becoming the most evil man in the world after his father literally puts him in an asylum to hide the fact that he killed his grandparents. The father killed his own parents, and the son found out, and then gives him electroconvulsive therapy to erase the memories from his mind, and they wonder why Lex Luthor came out the way he was?
I've not heard a lot of extremely good things about Smallville, but I have watched Supergirl start to front, so I can't throw any stones in that glass house.
I'm not saying, I mean, it was foundational and it was the first, like, big superhero. Like, I'm not saying it's good all the time, but it compels me.
That's fine. I'm not. My point is that I'm not judging you. But go watch Fern Gully. Go watch Legend or something. See Tim Curry in his element. Go watch Clue. Everyone likes Clue.
I've seen him go to the one place where capitalism can't get him.
Space?
Yeah,
But have you played Command and Conquer 3?
of course not.
Well, go do that. This is my point.
How?
It's probably on Steam. It's like a 15-year-old game. How hardware taxing can it be?
Oh, apparently he was in Clone Wars,
What?
like the animated Star Wars series.
Who wasn't in Clone Wars? Sarah Michelle Gellar's been in Star Wars.
Well, he was in 10 episodes.
Well, that's the surprising amount.
He was Darth Sidious and Chancellor Palpatine.
I'm sorry, he was Palpatine?
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the mid 2000s.
As in the somehow Palpatine has returned Palpatine?
Like 2008 Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's the no, that isn't the hand animated one. That came out between Fascinating.
I actually liked that show.
I never really watched it.
2008? I was 10 in 2008.
Stop that, Bex. Cease. You shall not power word age me today.
I already did.
My simple point, I guess, about Beetlejuice is that, like, I like it. I liked it when I first saw it as, like, a 12-year-old. I still kind of like it. It's very much just kind of a vibe movie.
Yeah, it's based on vibes alone.
You just sort of sit there and, you know, watch these guys, watch Tim Burton fuck around for 90 minutes, and, like, maybe, I don't know, like, I miss when Tim Burton made movies I kind of liked. I feel like I held on to him as a filmmaker for far too long because he used to make movies that I liked. Maybe he can again someday.
I was looking at his like directing credits,
Yeah.
and I'd say I don't think he's made anything in the last decade that I liked.
No, nor I.
Because like he made Dumbo. I didn't know that. He made Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I loved the books so much, so I was really disappointed by the movie.
I've heard that a lot, yeah. Never watched it, never read it.
At least we had 2 of the penguins in Dumbo.
He made Alice in Wonderland, which was okay, kind of.
That movie.
Sweeney Todd, I enjoyed. But like 2007 would have been the last time he made a movie that I enjoyed.
That Alice in Wonderland movie is a sin on Earth.
I mean, yeah, that whatever you think of that Alice in Wonderland movie, it is the genesis point for the Disney live-action remake, which is
Also a plague.
yeah, a plague.
Plague on our houses.
And I don't know, like, I don't know. I can't tell if Tim Burton's got to be a worse director or if he just like hasn't changed at all in 25 years.
Also, is he allergic to people of color? Wasn't that a thing? They don't fit his aesthetic?
I don't want to be rude about this, or I don't want to be like unwoke about this, I guess would be the better way to put it. But like, given sometimes you look at a white guy and you think, what's he gonna be like writing a non-white character? Then you stop and go, you know what, bud?
Maybe he shouldn't.
Yeah, you know what? You want to have all white casts? That's fine. This could go so much worse. It's fine. Didn't
he also cheat on Emma Thompson, or was that someone else?
I think that's Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, that was Kenneth Branagh. Why did I think... So he and Emma Thompson were never together.
No, they were... Kenneth Branagh was also with...
Helena.
We can also thank Tim Burton for Johnny Depp.
We don't have time to
Are we
unpack all of that.
thanking him for that, or
No.
Because I was gonna say I'll watch anything with Helena Bonham Carter in it.
You will?
Because she's amazing. I love her.
I'll watch anything with Emma Thompson in it. Friend of the pod and
So will I.
wonderful person Emma Thompson.
She went on a rant against AI on a late night show the other day. It was glorious.
She did. Previous episode, Sense and Sensibility. Very good movie. Yeah.
She's been in a bunch of Oscar movies, right? We'll circle back around to her.
I'm sure we will.
Does she have an Oscar? She has to.
I know she won a writing Oscar for Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
So she has at least one Oscar.
You know, we have to get Glenn Close her Oscar before she dies.
She has to be in good movies then.
Well, I do think, obviously, I think Olivia Colman absolutely deserved it that year. But I'm like, we have to get her an Oscar.
Emma Thompson also won Best Actress for Howard's
Howard's
End,
End
which I have not seen.
What is that?
came out in 92.
A period piece.
The description for it on IMDb is an Englishman cheats a woman out of an inheritance. That's it.
Oh, it's a Merchant Ivory production. Okay.
Hmm.
Good lord, it won a bunch of
Oh,
them.
Anthony Hopkins and Vanessa Redgrave and Helena Bonham Carter and Gemma Redgrave. And okay, so that's where they all met.
And it won Best Actress, Best Art Direction, and Best Screenplay based on material previously produced.
That's where they all met and probably where all the affairs started.
If only Emma Thompson could have had an affair with Helena Bonham Carter.
Real.
Real.
The Sweeney movie is not her fault.
No, but we'll talk about. Wait, hold up. I want to actually check to see if we'll talk about that movie someday. I feel like awards and nominations. Yep, Best Art Direction.
Really?
Which movie?
Sweeney Todd.
Ooh.
I see that. It had a nice style, I suppose.
That's sort of what I mean when I say I can talk myself into liking it. Like,
I like that one.
do I think it's very good? No, but it's like it's going for something.
I think it's a terrible adaptation of its material, but it looks nice.
It does look very nice. It's going for something. Depending on the hour of the day, I can talk myself into liking it based on that, but I don't.
You could argue it had a vision and a stylistic vision, even if they hacked and slashed that beautiful, hilarious. It's supposed to be a comedy, you know?
Yeah,
Where'd the comedy go?
that's sort of like that's the other thing that very much struck me watching this. I feel like I don't know, like I can't remember the last I laughed a lot at this movie, and not just at like Michael Keatoning all over everything. Much take that in the same way that, Morbius begins to morb all over those people.
I didn't expect this to be. I mean, it was funny in its way. There were some real zingers in Beetlejuice.
I can't remember the last Tim Burton movie that made me laugh at all.
I don't think Tim Burton does funny very well.
I guess I kind of laughed a lot at Sleepy Hollow.
I think Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, he didn't direct it, but Nightmare Before Christmas, he helped write some of it,
Yeah.
and it's funny. Also, the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas is in Beetlejuice.
Yes, he is.
And wait a minute. Catherine O'Hara is Sally. What am I saying?
Tim Burton likes to work with the same actors over and over again.
I've noticed that.
Is that an auteur thing?
It's honestly more common than you think.
Yeah.
If you are a decent director, you want to be able to communicate with your actors. So if you find a good way of communicating with your actors, you tend to want to stick with it.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed a lot, like, in, like, shows and movies and stuff where, like, you'll see a lot of actors that were in other things together. It's usually, like, the same kind of production team, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, Tim Burton is, what is he? He's got to be in his 60s or 70s by now, right? He is 67. So, there's still...
So we still have to suffer through, like, 20 years more of his movies, is what you're saying?
You could frame it that way if you please, but I...
Wow!
I mean, like, I have on one hand the number of movies that he's made that I actually like, and none of them were made in this decade.
I like Big Fish in theory because I like the musical.
Yeah, but you can't like a movie just because you like the musical.
Sure they can. Watch them.
Well, if it's the same story, doesn't that translate?
Have you seen the movie?
Depends
No.
how they... Yeah.
Go watch the movie. As Mean Girls the musical proved, just because something worked in one format doesn't mean an adaptation's going to work.
Yep.
You are so true. Except I thought, except the musical is dog shit, and the movie is okay.
This is precisely my point.
It's the same thing with, like, amazing books that get turned into movies, and the movie just falls flat because it just doesn't translate well to film.
My point was going to be a little more positive than Amanda's framing, which is, Martin Scorsese is 83 years old, and his most recent truly great film was 2023. So, I'm not going to say, Tim Burton has never been an artist. anywhere near the level of Martin Scorsese. I don't think he has a Last Temptation of Christ or The King of Comedy in him. But, like, you know, I hope that he can, whatever has caused him to make movies that I fucking hate lately, I hope he can pull out of it and make, you know, a couple good things again before he retires.
There's still time. Meanwhile, David Cronenberg is acting.
Yeah, he's still directing, though. He had a movie this year.
I know, but seeing him in the trailer for Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, dropped my jaw. I did not know he was going to be there.
We love David Cronenberg in this. This podcast is very positive on David Cronenberg.
We love The Fly is one of my Gina Davis.
Cosmopolis is probably my second or third favorite movie of the 2010s.
The Fly is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But I was watching it and I was like, oh, David? You're acting? Because when's the last time he was acting?
I acts here and there. The Fly, as I was saying, is eligible for this podcast, so
I need to be on that episode.
if I roll it up, I'll tag you.
Talk about special effects.
I think that it won. Let me see. Let me look. The Fly. It won accolades. Best makeup.
Yeah.
The Fly scared me when I was a kid.
Me too. Still scares me, TBH.
I would not watch it just because of how terrified I was when I watched it as a child.
What tickles me, my favorite fact was learning that Mel Brooks made the decision to take his name off of the producing list because he didn't want to give anyone the wrong idea.
He also produced
Schindler's List.
I was going Elephant Man. Speaking of David directors.
Oh, I meant to say Elephant Man. I mixed Elephant Man and Schindler's List up. Wow, what the fuck?
That's two very different vibes. That is two very different
We're not
vibes.
getting any more David Lynch films. Oh.
Why not?
He died this year.
He's dead.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
He died.
You know what? I think Violet may have told me that, and I blocked it from my brain because I refuse to accept that.
Yeah. That's a bummer way to end. Bex, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Now I'm just sad about David Lynch. Thanks.
Okay.
But in terms of plugging things...
Nope, you already said it. Bex would like to plug the concept of being sad about David Lynch.
I don't even think I've seen Twin Peaks.
I'm going to sit you down in front of Inland Empire tomorrow, Bex.
We don't have time. I have work, and then I have dinner with you, and then I have an old Eugene O'Neill play. There's simply not enough time.
Okay, well, Inland Empire is your work now. Do your plugs.
Okay. You can't really find me on the internet, but I pop up on my friends' podcasts sometimes to have interesting movie opinions and talk too much.
How about you, Amanda the Panda?
No, I don't do things.
You appear on my podcast.
That's like the first thing I've ever done.
Mwah. That's what you get.
Thanks.
As always, you can find me, Ellie, on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos with dashes between the words. You can find me on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42. And you can find this podcast on Blue Sky at Biggest Night Pod. We are available on both Spotify and YouTube. And if you follow us on YouTube, be sure to give us a subscribe, maybe like and comment on the videos so that you can tell me which parts you like and which parts you don't.
Thanks to both Bex and Amanda for coming out. I'm sorry that you didn't like the movie, Amanda.
It's okay. I'm always happy to hear other people's opinions.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
It was a fun way to kill 89 minutes.
Fair enough. But as some longtime listeners might remember, it's about in January. I get to pick the two movies we cover. One movie I love, one movie I hate. And so we're going to be kicking January off right with a movie I love. We're talking about Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon next. Hope to see you there.
Shake, 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 Sonora, shake your body line. Shake, 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 Sonora, shake it all the time. Work, 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 Sonora, work your body line. Work, 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 Sonora, work it all the time. My girl name is Sonora, I tell you friends I adore her. And when she dances, oh brother, she's a hurricane in all kinds of weather. Jump in the line, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you, jump in the line, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you, jump in the line, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you, jump in the line, rock your body in time.